Hello, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Paul Butterworth. I'm local to Billericay and I'd like to talk a little bit about the site of the burial of crew of L32 and the crash. So, on the morning of 24th of September 1916, the super ship, as it's classed as, L32, was engaged by a guy called Frederick Sowry of the Royal Flying Corps. Frederick Sowry engaged the ship put 3 drums of incendiary rounds into the hulk or the hull of the Zeppelin. They were revolutionary at the time, these rounds. They had some sort of delay mechanism built into them. And yeah, it worked. The ship engulfed in flames, and captain, who was the winner, Peterson, had to make a quick decision what to do with his ship. It looks like he swung it around. From witness accounts, the ship turned quite violently. Quite quickly, it was burning at both ends, and he decided to put it into the fields, I'm guessing. So eyewitnesses said that the ship passed very, very low over Billericay High Street. And Billericay High Street is even now is built up of brick buildings and Tudor type buildings. So witnesses said that Peterson took his ship over the high street quite low, and locals could not only hear the explosions of the gunfire or the sound of the gunfire, but they could see the whole skylight up from this burning ship that was rapidly approaching the town. It went over the high street, and it was so low that one lady said that the windows rattled, and it was like making a whooshing noise, like a train passing by. It went over the high street, crossing from High Street to Chapel Street, down hillside and across the fields, and it sort of went in a diagonal line to Greens Farm Lane, which is the present name of the road. At that point, it hit the ground into fields, which at the time were basically surrounded by a few trees, oak trees, and a few hedgerows. So it's basically open land. The tail of the L32 struck a large oak, and it stripped it, and that was the end of it. The nose went straight in the ground, ploughed in, and then it was game over. The whole thing, built of aluminium and canvas with long fuel cells and equipment, went up, ball of flames. And quite quickly, locals made their way to the site. One lady, who at the time was a child, very young, she said that she tripped over one of the bodies in the field. With regards to bodies in the field, there were 2. One allegedly is the captain, who it said that he jumped from quite a height, still clutching his log. And another one was, I'm not sure, it's one of the crew members. The rest of the other 20 guys basically stayed inside the hull and burned. Quite quickly, the police are on site, local bobbies. They cordoned it off. They obviously called the military. Took a bit of time to get down. In the meantime, word got out through telegraphs and telephones at the time to London and actually people came down from London for the morning. This happened in Sunday morning about 1:30, and one lady was going to church, this church, which is at Great Burstead, and she was not able to get to the church like she normally would because of the traffic. There was a lot of bicycles, a lot of horses, carts, cars, you name it, trucks, whatever was coming down. So yeah, it was a very busy time. Plus there were people coming down from London all dressed up from the night before, ladies and gentlemen in their dresses, and guys with top hats, I guess they came down. A lot of people coming down locally from via bicycle and walking. Quite quickly local traders set up stalls selling food, etc. And they had a lot of the local police had a big problem with people were picking up parts of Zeppelin that was falling off. As the Zeppelin came down, it basically was burning, and debris was coming off the rear of it, and that was for about 2 miles, and people was picking up aluminium, canvas and whatever, and they were taking it home for souvenirs. Now this site here is the actual burial site from that time, and I'll talk about that in the second one.